welcome back or welcome to it. Either way, this is going to be my recap for my Town Hall 10 triples for Week 10 in CWL against 50 Spartans. If you haven't seen the recap, I cover the war there as well as go over a few 10 and a few 11v11s. So this will be separate from the one Town Hall 10 file I did have that was cleaned, as well as a Town Hall 11 I had that was cleaned, and I'm also going to have my 12v12 on that video. Both of these are going to be extensive breakdowns, so there is going to be, well, a lot of time on this one. So this will probably take around a half hour, give or take a little bit. And I am quite tired. It's about 10 o'clock for me, and I figured I should get this done before replays start getting wiped or anything like that. So let's dive right into it. Some of these were cleanups, some were direct cleanups, some were different attacks, and only one of them was fresh, but it was a great attack. So let's dive right into it. This first one is a straight cleanup from Alf's plan here, as he ran pretty much the same plan as he came in with his heroes down here, as they're able to pick up this and head down this way. I'm going to do that just the same. Also wanted to mention I did have 3 Town Hall 10s in this war. We had a couple people running extra Town Hall 10 accounts, as we had a couple people unable to make the war, just with, busy in their lives or needing a break, stuff like that. So anyway, so back to it. So then also have a baby drag for here. His actually got picked off by a black mine, as he sent a loon to prevent a black mine coming in right here, and his loon got taken out right before the black mine, or right as the black mine popped up, so it targeted the baby drag and took that down and messed up his funnel a little bit, and he just ended up, I believe, 98% on the base, just barely timing out. So I am going to come in here with the same concept, have the heroes there, going to zap this AD and this AD. What I didn't realize is, with the heroes getting that much value, I actually don't need that zap. So I end up using those 2 lightning elsewhere, but I did not catch it before the attack, unfortunately, but I did catch it during and put him to pretty good use, I'd say. So gonna have the slammer coming in through this way, and the drags, of course, just coming in through the core. As you can see, I do have that hound and a few minions to help on cleanup. Just a few loons. Really want to make sure that slammer doesn't get hit by anything and just any random air traps out there. Wasn't fresh. Looks like this was a hound loon CC, as it never did come out. So, alright. Also, if you didn't see the last video, I unfortunately we'll have to do some extensive editing, so if there's like little bits and pieces left in, just like a second of me going out of screen or something like that, switching apps, so be it. I'll do my best to edit it and get it out, hopefully by Wednesday or Thursday. So let's switch over and take a look at this base. Here we are, as I'm going to start this attack down here with the heroes. Do have a couple wizards there to help funnel as well. Make sure the heroes walk down, as there's always a risk that the queen will walk up or even try and cut in for that air defense, which we don't actually need, as their defense will be tanked by the hound, and then the one at 3 will be taken by the slammer. So heroes going in. I do have to pop my king a bit earlier than Alf's, but it still works out just fine. Get plenty of hero value there. Have the baby drag without the loon coming in at 3. Have a minion for some, I was hoping for 2 or 3 buildings, but ends up just being 1 building over at 9 o'clock. And I'm going to start the drags in here in just a second here, as drop loon, slammer right behind it. Baby drag does go into air defense range and get taken out pretty quickly, unfortunately. And got last 3 loons, hound, and drags coming in here at 4:30. And this attack feels like it progresses pretty slow. At this point, I realize that I do have 2 lightning left with nothing really to use them on. So I actually use them on the sweeper right there. That's given my drags a little bit of a hard time, and takes it out. And that actually, I believe, ends up helping quite a bit, as this attack isn't a blowout by any stretch, but it was really solid, and it was a really good plan going into it. The slammer is still up, which is really useful for me. here, as I am going to try and haste those loons, or I'm not going to be able to try to haste those loons, sorry, until they get a little bit higher, as it looked like they weren't going to path toward that Inferno Tower is what I was getting from them, unfortunately. So I'm hoping they're going to path into the Inferno Tower here and not out to the Archer Tower. They do, and they do just have just enough in them to take out the Inferno Tower, as the minions were down pretty early for cleanup, still have a couple more, and the drag's going. So just going to speed through the end of this right here, and shout out to Al for what ended up being a close plan, but a really, really good one regardless. Good base identification with it being fairly spread out, and drags just being able to kind of go through it at their own pace like most of these drag zap attacks do go. So I'm going to hop over to the next one real quick, so we will be right back. Next up is going to be another drag zap, as you can see, but this time I only do have the 2 lightning and I have 3 rage for the dragons. It is a squishy CC, as will the next 3 bases be. Not many hounds for the last couple wars that we've seen. So this was actually Matt's plan, and he got fairly close on it, but he ended up doing a drag bat instead of the drag zap. So he didn't quite get the value he wanted out of it, unfortunately. He got pretty good mutual tanking, but the bats just weren't quite able to go through. Big part of that is there was a Tesla farm down at 6, which really helped thwart the bats, even though they were able to take out the Inferno Tower. Didn't quite get the value he wanted, so I'm just going to make the adjustment of just zapping this back end AD right here. The heroes are going to go right up here and clear out pretty much this area right along there. And I do have a baby drag to help funnel right over there, just like he did. So I do bring the slammer in over here so it can path through this way, right there. And the drags, of course, coming right through about 9:30 to 11:30. So I do have a few minions for cleanup there and a goblin for the exposed town hall down at 6. So really good base identification for this one as well. You're able to get really good funnel value from the heroes because there's no Tesla farm down there, and it's down there at 6. The baby drag gets a pretty efficient funnel as well, allowing everything to go inside, and you're not fighting a sweeper unless you end up over here. So this ends up working out really well, of course, since I'm showing it. So let's switch over and take a look at that. Here we go. I was going to start the heroes right up here at about 12:45. Get that goblin down just a sec as well to take out the town hall. Did start the king a little bit high. Want to make sure he was pathing downward. Zap nice and early. Going to drop the queen here. Wanted to make sure she didn't path up too quickly and she was able to get that air defense. And I believe I dropped the baby drag as well in just a moment at 9 o'clock. So my king ends up going to the wall, which is not something that happened in the previous attack, but it doesn't really end up affecting too much, as it looks like it was still going to be outside of clan castle range anyway. So king gets taken down there. Just start the drags, gets rid of some of this outside defenses. Going to start the baby drag and in just a moment as well. Queen finally goes down there and get the slammer down. I have 2 hounds for this. I actually forgot to mention that. Just seemed like there was quite a bit going on. I knew it was a squishy CC, and just the extra tanking was really nice since I'm already not getting much value from having the loons other than to soak up traps, so I decided to take a second hound, and worked out really nicely here as getting plenty of tanking, get that poison down so the clan castle stays in it for the most part. One witch does stay outside, but it does get most of those archers down. As other lava hound is still up, and drags are slowly making their way through the base. Do get my haste down for those loons, able to take out the expo and wizard tower there. Baby drag still trucking away at 7:30, and drags are spread out nice and even up top for the most part. And here we go, as baby drag tries to take on that Tesla farm by himself, but of course to no avail. I do have cleanup coming in plenty early. My goblin got taken out by the witch's skellies, unfortunately. So I do have 2 drags here at 6. I end up raging them just because that's pretty much all I had left to take out was those Teslas. So I figured I should probably just get those down instead of worrying about time or anything like that. So that drag is going to stay up and be able to take out that Tesla. And we're just going to speed through this cleanup right here. Didn't notice that my goblin got taken out, so I didn't get the minions down for quite some time in terms of cleanup around there. Still worked out just fine though, so really good initial plan. Just some small tweaks on it with just taking out that air defense at 5 o'clock and just going more kill squad with 3 rages for the drags. So let's hop over to the next one. Here we go, as this was not fresh as well, but it was quite different from any of the other attacks minus where the wall wrecker was. So there were a couple fails on this base beforehand, but I ended up thinking that P.E.K.K.A. Hog was going to be best for this one, as on the previous attack, I believe it was a mass P.E.K.K.A. with back-end bats. It came in and it got pretty good kill squad value for the most part. I believe it got both ITs, got in there, and I just thought, you know, if I can still clear this out without having to use too much troop space, this is really nice. Even L-shaped pathing for hogs. So I do plan on raging and healing right in the core. I have, as you can see, 1 golem for the tanking right here. Drop my queen pretty shortly after I get that down. And there is a Tesla here and here. So I'm going to drop the P.E.K.K.A.s directly on that. Pretty heavy wizard reinforcement to make sure that I'm able to get the funnel set. And even if my king walks, I really need my queen inside to get those both Inferno Towers down. So I drop her. She is pretty early, but this does get really good clearing out. And wall record pathing just straight through the core, and 3 heals about here, here, here. Just pretty symmetrical for the most part. Not sure which direction I'm going to place my hogs from until mid-attack. So it is another squishy CC, and I believe there's a Tesla here and here. So really like the approach on this, just because I knew that if my queen could clear out enough right in there, that she could pretty much solo just with the golem instead of having to invest 2 P.E.K.K.A.s like most hog attacks would. So I'll have a few more hogs for the back end. And I really liked this open core with both of the Inferno Towers in range for the queen to get once she steps into this compartment right there, as well as presumably getting both these bomb towers if the kill squad goes alright. So that does leave a pretty hefty chunk back here for the expos, but getting the queen down, it should give me really good pathing still. And really the pathing is the biggest part of this, as if you can cut the whole base in half plus get those bomb towers, that barely leaves anything, it feels like, for the hogs to get. And that is what I'm banking on for this, is my kill squad going in where it needs to, and the P.E.K.K.A.s getting the funnel where they need to. So let's switch over and take a look at this one. Here we go, as I do start with a goblin on the town hall for almost free there. Really good early cleanup. Get both P.E.K.K.A.s down on those Teslas and get the wizards coming in from behind. I do drop the golem in just a second with the queen behind really quickly, as there's quite a bit of trash there, but she should be able to clean that up pretty well. I do drop the wall wrecker pretty early as well. Queen should be coming down any second. There we go. And gonna get the king down. I place him down low as I realized that I got the funnel up at 2 o'clock, but not so much at 4. So even if he walks, I know I'll still be okay, but I really need my queen inside to make sure I get both Inferno Towers down. So I do end up being a little bit off-center with my wall wrecker, but not a big deal, as I know my queen can pick up either Inferno if the bowlers in my CC don't. Get the freeze poison down nice and early, and Town Hall just now goes down to that goblin, and wall wrecker's about to pop with the queen locked onto it, as well as those expos. Get the rage heal down, and I get those bomb towers taken care of, and both Inferno Towers down. And gonna pop my queen here in just a moment, or I might miss her actually. I think I was staring at her, and then the moment I took my eyes off is when she finally got taken out, as the expos all locked onto her. So I do have all those hogs coming in, do have a few to reinforce over here at about 10 o'clock. First heal goes down, second heal is going to go down in just a second. I am dealing with the king and quite a few skellies, as I knew I'd be dealing with that, but I wasn't too concerned about it because I knew my kill squad should take out most of this base. And I do have one more heal spell, and Truthfully, I tried really hard to be able to swag it, but I really didn't want to time out with this with just a few hogs left, knowing they just went through a giant bomb and were really low on health. So I do heal them here as they end up kind of splitting, with some targeting king and some not, or they end up completely splitting off. Kind of weird AI, but didn't end up making a difference here as the cleanup is just finishing up here with enemy king still up. Alright, so really liked that one, and I was really happy to have my own creative idea on that and not just be cleaning up straight up, which is still always enjoyable and it's always good to get the triple, but it's always a little bit more satisfying when the plan's your own. So we're going to move on to the fourth one here. Alright, I almost feel bad about showing this base because it did pick up quite a few defenses. It defended Mass P.E.K.K.A. Hog Attack, Drag Zap, or Perfect Storm, however you'd like to call it, as well as a regular P.E.K.K.A. Hog Attack. And I feel a little bad for burning it, but at the same time, this is my probably my third favorite attack, and really, I've never seen anybody else use it outside of people in KT just looking to copy what I'm doing, which is totally awesome, and I wish I could start a trend, but you don't see enough bases like this to do it. So, as you can see, it looks like I pretty much have a Falcon attack here. Don't see those too often anymore, but still see them now and again. The difference here is my wall wrecker is actually for backside, as I will bring it in from whichever direction my queen does not go typically, as I'm going to start my queen down at 6 and let her have a queen's choice. So whatever she does, she cannot mess it up, hopefully, as she can go this way or this way with it being a symmetrical base. So that is one of the best parts about running this on symmetrical bases, is queen can go whichever direction. Let's hypothetically say she goes this way. I will then funnel with my king here and bring Valks in along with my bowlers right into the core, as I do anticipate using a rage pretty early on for the clan castle if I draw it out, or of course just this pretty heavy damage in there. So I will have 2 more for the core, of course. And then if my healers die out pretty early, I can always rage my kill squad. If not, I'll have 2 heals for my hogs. As assuming it goes that way, I will then bring in my hogs this way with the wall wrecker, and I will use it to tank and drop some hogs in along the way to take out these defenses. So I love doing it. It's a little bit harder with the Inferno Tower right there, but typically that's around where the wall wrecker pops anyway, and I'm going to place my heal spell. Might have a second, just kind of depends on how the kill squad goes and what it needs. And I always love doing this attack. It's always fun seeing the wall wrecker tank for hogs and then pop out with even more hogs. So I call it the Hog Brigade. So let's flip over and take a look at this. Alright, I also want to mention the main reason I did this attack was just how easy it is, because the base is pretty much perfectly symmetrical. So it just allows me not to have to funnel my queen and just have to funnel my kill squad in, as well as the core being fairly open, knowing if I can just get pretty much 3 walls deep, or 4 preferably, that I'll be able to take out most of the defenses that I need to get to. So let's watch this one unfold, as I do have just a little bit of funneling for my queen as well at 5 and 7 o'clock with a wizard each there. And queen coming in from 6. I do try and see if that town hall is free with a couple archers. It is not. The arch tower is just in range to grab them. So queen walk does progress a little bit slowly here, but I knew that coming in with those storages, and that's why I had those 2 wizards to try and get those couple collectors and drills out of the way nice and early. So I do have the expo on me as I'm beating through the dark elixir drill. Not a big deal, as I am going to draw out the clan castle here once I step forward just a little bit more, get that rage down, and here comes the clan castle. Already knew what it was, another damage CC with small troops as well as an ice golem in there. So get that down, and I used the freeze to make sure I don't have to burn my queen's ability. Already had the king down for a little bit of funneling, get everything going in, and of course, this is where things end up being improvised. My queen, oh bless her soul, decides to take off all the way back around the corner for that cannon or those storages. So I do heal my kill squad as the healers stay on my queen. And I do still get pretty good value for the most part on it. I do drop my last rage in there as well. I do have my queen's ability. And I decide I may as well start the wall wrecker from there. Even though my queen's over there, there's pretty much no defenses on the other side anyway. So I am going to drop the hogs a little bit late here. I definitely should have gotten them in sooner. But it doesn't end up affecting me too much, as you're going to see. Here as wall wrecker's going in. Going to start the hogs right there. And I believe I send a few on that Tesla. So come out of the clan castle, get the heal down in just a moment. Make sure they're able to survive that giant bomb and wizard tower. They do have to deal with the king, but they are able to overcome it. That heal spell just allows them to go through 2 giant bombs, which was huge just in terms of getting it placed in a good spot. As my queen is continuing her cleanup, did have a couple wizards for cleanup here and a minion. And my hogs, I believe, take out this arch tower before the king does do the rest of them in. And I am pretty happy at this point, as I know I have my queen's ability, and I'm going to be able to finish through with that. So just going to ×2 the last 15 seconds here, as pop her, take out enemy king, and finish through the last couple buildings, including the town hall. So, always love doing that attack. Definitely one of my favorites, right behind Mwasam and Electron. So, alright, one more attack to show, and this was actually, I believe, my second attack of the war, as I failed my first one, and then I tripled 5 in a row at Town Hall 10. So, let's take a look at that one. Alright, as you can see, I do have a P.E.K.K.A. Hog prepared for this one. I am pretty heavy on my kill squad. I do have 4 P.E.K.K.As. It shows 3 down there. I've actually already dropped one before I could take this picture. So I do have the 4 P.E.K.K.As, 1 Barbarian, and the 11 Wizards and 19 Hogs and the Wall Wrecker. So I really like that this base is pretty open, as that's a pretty big compartment, and of course if I'm able to get into here, that's going to be major value. And it's probably the biggest part that I like about this, because I'm going to drop my wall wrecker right around here, and I'm hoping I can just break open this compartment right there. No jump spell to get into the core, but I'm hoping my kill squad will be able to just kind of beat through, or at least take out these few defenses, or at least this Expo and Sweeper, and along with this set right here. And if that goes as planned, that will give me really good and clean pathing for my hogs, being able to heal them up just 1 heal spell at a time. And really liked the thought of that going in, as going to have pretty normal P.E.K.K.A. funnel, and a couple P.E.K.K.As coming in here. A little heavy on the wizards, as I like to do, since I'm already investing 4 P.E.K.K.As into it. I may as well have quite a bit invested in my kill squad. So I am going to rage and heal my bowlers once that does pop. Sometimes I do like going of 2 rages for it. Decided just to go with the 1 for this one, as I think I'll probably need all 3 heal spells to get through this back end. Assuming my kill squad does die out right around this wall, or maybe just a little bit after. So goal being to break this junction, as I mentioned, so that way they can get all these buildings down, and enemy king, of course, is always a plus. That way you don't have to deal with him back end. Couple weird things about this base is how open this area is, and also perhaps the weirdest that you pretty rarely see nowadays is the town hall not offset to any side. It's fairly centered. It's a 7 or 8 tiles off, but it's still pretty centered, so you can kind of enter from wherever you want. So I do decide to enter from just below 9 o'clock. So really like this kill squad value, love the hog pathing, and this one was fresh, so I wasn't sure what was in the CC. For the most part, when I'm doing P.E.K.K.A. Hog, I do take a freeze in my clan castle, as I like the kill squad getting as much value as possible. Alright, so let's hop on over to that. Alright, going to start with first P.E.K.K.A. down here at 6. Make sure I get that hut out of the way, and my next one over here at 9. Do have pretty heavy funneling, want to make sure everything gets inside here. So a few wizards there, even though it's fresh. I'm hoping the Tesla farm's not there. I'm thinking it's probably closer to up there. As you can see, a couple Teslas already popped, as actually the Barbarian was for a hole right there in the base. Shout out to, want to say it was Marco, could have been BRG, one of the two, for pointing that out. So do get those Teslas. No Giant Bomb, unfortunately. So start the wall wrecker as well as my other two P.E.K.K.A.s and my heroes. A little afraid things are going to walk here, but it actually ends up funneling out really well, as my wall wrecker actually just pops right before it's able to break open the wall I wanted. So I do get rage, heal, freeze, poison down all on top of each other there. And I am getting pretty much the value I wanted for my kill squad so far, and they are able to break through that wall, and they're still really healthy, which I didn't really expect at this point, as I do have my Queen's ability as well. I do start a little bit of cleanup there at 10 o'clock. Never too early for cleanup as long as the area is clear. I'm going to pop my Queen here pretty early, just in a second with the Inferno Tower on her, just knowing I'm going to have to pop it regardless. So I do pop it, and at this point I realize that my kill squad, especially through bowler bounces, has gotten ludicrous value and cleared out 72% of the base or so before I even drop anything. And before hogs even touch a defense, it's going to be at 77%. So at this point, I do use one heal spell, make sure I get through the splash damage in here with the Wizard Tower, another Wizard Tower, and the Inferno. And of course any giant bombs. I do have a couple packs of skellies chasing me. Doesn't end up mattering, of course, as this finishes out really strong, and I have two heal spells in the bag that I'm able to hold on to. So I was super excited about that and gave me a lot of confidence heading into my next attacks, knowing that I was able to have such a great one after I believe I timed out on my or didn't time out. I believe my first attack just didn't go well. I had a lot of things go wrong on it, and Slick was able to clean it up really nicely. So thank you for watching, and really happy with this war for myself at Town Hall 10. Just, wish I could have came through a little bit more at 11 and 12, of course, but regardless, still really happy with Town Hall 10 performance, and next video will be on the cleanup for my Town Hall 10 fail, Town Hall 11, and my 12v12.